Have you ever wondered what true happiness means? A simple question, yet it carries a world of complexity. Is it a state of mind, a fleeting moment, or a lifelong pursuit? Perhaps it's a combination of all three, or maybe it's something entirely different for each one of us. In our quest to understand this elusive concept, we look to stories, to experiences, to lessons learned. Today, we dive into a story that may just give us a glimpse into the meaning of true happiness. In a small village in India, there lived a wise old monk. His name was not widely known, but his wisdom was legendary. He was a beacon of tranquility, his demeanor as peaceful as the soft murmur of a flowing river. His presence was a comforting constant in the village, as familiar and welcome as the rising sun. The villagers held him in high regard, their respect for him as deep as the ancient well at the village center. They admired his wisdom, sought his advice, and found solace in his comforting words. His teachings were simple, yet profound, touching the hearts of young and old alike. His life was a testament to simplicity. He owned little, yet lacked nothing. His worldly possessions were meager, his clothes were simple, and his abode was humble. Yet, he was the richest man in the village, rich in wisdom and contentment. Despite having little material possessions, the monk was often seen with a serene smile, content in his simple life. One day, a curious villager asked the monk about his secret to happiness. This villager, let's call him Ravi, was known for his inquisitive nature. Ravi had observed the monk for a long time, and his curiosity was piqued by the monk's enduring tranquility and joy. Ravi was a humble farmer, living a life filled with labor and struggle, yet he found little contentment in his everyday existence. He looked at the monk, who lived a life of simplicity, free from worldly possessions and desires, and couldn't help but wonder about the monk's secret to happiness. One day, Ravi decided to approach the monk. With a sense of earnest curiosity, he asked, "You live a life so simple, devoid of any luxuries, yet I see a spark of contentment in your eyes, a tranquility that I long for. How do you do it?" The monk, being a man of few words, looked at Ravi. There was a serene smile on his face, a smile that seemed to understand the confusion and curiosity in Ravi's heart. He didn't immediately respond to Ravi's question, but instead invited him to spend a day with him, to observe his routine, his ways of life. Ravi was surprised by this invitation. He had expected a profound answer, a secret mantra to happiness, but all he got was an invitation to spend a day with the monk. However, Ravi's curiosity got the better of him, and he decided to accept the monk's offer. The following day, Ravi woke up before sunrise and walked towards the monk's humble abode. He was ready to unravel the secret to happiness, ready to understand the monk's contentment. The monk, with a gentle smile, decided to show rather than tell. This was the beginning of a journey towards understanding true contentment and happiness. It was a day that Ravi was to remember for a lifetime, a day that was to change his perspective on life and happiness. The next day, the monk invited the villager to spend the day with him. As dawn broke, the villager found himself being gently roused by the soft chanting of the monk. Together, they welcomed the day with a session of serene meditation. The tranquility of the early morning, punctuated by the rhythmic humming of the monk, quieted the villager's restless mind. He felt his worries and fears slowly melting away, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity he had never felt before. After meditation, they moved on to the garden, where the monk patiently taught the villager the art of mindful gardening. Each seed was planted with care, each weed was pulled out with gratitude for its role in the cycle of life. The monk explained to the villager how gardening was a metaphor for life. Just like the seeds, our actions, whether good or bad, take root and bear the fruits of our future. And just like the weeds, our negative thoughts and feelings, if not addressed, can choke our growth. As the day progressed, the monk guided the villager through the different tasks he performed daily in the village. They visited the elderly, lending a listening ear and a helping hand. They distributed food to those who were in need. They played with the children, sharing laughter and stories. Each action, the monk explained, was an opportunity to practice kindness and compassion, to give without expecting anything in return. Throughout their day together, the monk's teachings were not in grand philosophical discourses, but rather in small, meaningful actions. The villager observed the monk's patience, his kindness, his gratitude for every moment, and his unwavering mindfulness. He saw how the monk relished his simple, uncluttered life. There was a quiet joy in his actions, a profound peace in his demeanor. As they finished their day, sitting side by side, watching the sun set, the villager realized something profound. He hadn't once thought of his worries or desires. The day had been filled with such simple yet fulfilling tasks that his usual anxieties had been forgotten. He had been present in every moment, fully engaged in every task, and in doing so, he had experienced a deep sense of contentment and peace. The villager turned to the monk, a sense of realization dawning on his face. He understood now. He understood that the monk's tranquility was not a result of an absence of worries or desires, but rather a result of mindfulness, of being fully present in the moment, of showing kindness and gratitude in every action. As the sun set, the villager realized he hadn't once thought of his worries or desires. He felt a peace he'd never experienced before. That evening, the villager thanked the monk for the enlightening day. He had been deeply moved by the monk's words and actions, and as the sun began to set, something within him stirred, a profound realization that would change his life forever. The villager had spent his entire life chasing dreams, always looking ahead, always wanting more. But as he sat there, in the quiet tranquility of the monastery, he realized that he had been missing the beauty of the present moment. He had been so focused on the future that he had forgotten to live in the now. This was the first secret to the monk's happiness: mindfulness, the ability to be fully present, to appreciate the here and now, to savor each moment as if it were the only one. The second secret lay in the monk's kindness. He treated everyone with respect and compassion, without expecting anything in return. He gave freely of himself, his time, and his wisdom. The villager saw that this selfless kindness brought the monk a deep sense of fulfillment and joy. It was not about what he could get, but what he could give. And finally, the third secret was gratitude. The monk was grateful for every little thing, every meal, every breath, every sunrise. He saw the beauty in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane. He understood that life was a gift, and he cherished it. The villager realized that he had been taking so much for granted, focusing on what he lacked rather than appreciating what he had. As these realizations washed over him, the villager felt a sense of peace he had never known before. He understood the monk's secret to happiness. It wasn't about wealth or success or worldly possessions. It was about mindfulness, kindness, and gratitude. The monk simply smiled and said, "True happiness lies not in having what you want, but in wanting what you have." And so, the villager learned a valuable lesson that day. Our tale has woven a tapestry of wisdom, where the humble monk, with his quiet demeanor and enlightened perspective, played the role of an unlikely teacher. The curious villager, in his quest for happiness, found himself on a journey of self-discovery that wasn't about the destination, but the path. The moral of our story isn't a novel concept, yet it's often overlooked in the hustle and bustle of life. It's about appreciating what one has. The villager, who once sought joy in the materialistic world, found true happiness in the simplicity and tranquility of the monk's life. He realized that the key to joy wasn't about accumulating possessions, but about cherishing the present moment and the people in it. The story underscores the power of kindness, another pivotal aspect of the monk's teaching. Kindness, like a boomerang, always comes back. The villager learned that spreading warmth and goodwill not only enriches the lives of others, but also adds a profound sense of fulfillment and joy to one's own life. So, the next time you find yourself in the pursuit of happiness, remember the villager and the monk. Seek joy in the simplicity of life, in the here and now, in the act of giving and spreading kindness. Remember, true happiness lies not in material possessions, but in the richness of the heart,